The Zarklan Empire was one of the oldest and proudest civilizations in the Orion Arm. For thousands of years, their fleets ruled star systems, their warriors conquered planets, and their technology was considered unmatched. Every young Zarklan officer grew up hearing the same line: "We fear nothing. No species can rise above us." So when their deep space scouts detected a small human mining outpost on a cold, empty moon, the council barely paid attention. To them, humans were new, young, and unimportant. They never saw Earth as a real threat. But when the Zarklan scouts sent back their first video, the entire council chamber burst into laughter. On the dark screen, human machines could be seen working slowly across the ice. Rusted mining bots with dents in their metal. Old tractors from another era. Slow vehicles dragging equipment. And simple robotic arms cutting into rock. Nothing looked advanced. Nothing looked powerful. Nothing looked dangerous. To the Zarklan mind, these machines were a joke. "Primitive," one council member shouted. "Look at them," another laughed. "How do humans survive with such weak tools?" Soon, the video spread across the empire like a comedy clip. Workers in factories laughed at it. Pilots shared it during their breaks. Students sent it to each other as a meme. "Humans are nothing. Their technology is trash. We could take their moon with one hand." The Zarklans were sure of this. But one commander did not laugh. Commander Redhar, an old veteran with scars across his face, watched the footage closely. Something felt wrong. His instincts whispered a warning. So he ordered his crew to observe the human outpost more carefully. Hours passed. Then a full day. Then two. And that's when he saw it. The weak machines were still running. Non-stop. Day and night. Without resting. Without slowing. Without stopping. Not a single mining bot overheated. Not a single tractor ran out of fuel. Not a single system showed any energy loss. Commander Redhar narrowed his eyes. "This should be impossible," he muttered. His science officer scanned the machines again. No sign of a reactor. No fuel cells. No thermal signature. Redhar leaned forward. "Then how are they still moving?" No one had an answer. Redhar felt a cold chill run down his spine. He had fought many wars and seen strange things, but machines that ran forever? Machines that produced unlimited power? That was something even the greatest empires had never achieved. He decided to move closer. The Zarklan ship lowered its orbit, creeping silently above the human moon. The crew watched every detail, recording everything. But before they could analyze more, the ship shook violently. A red warning flashed across the control screens. "Unknown scanner detected." The pilot gasped. "Commander, something is locking onto us." Rethar's heart froze. On the main screen, the feed suddenly went black. Then a single line of human text appeared, followed by a calm human voice, cold and emotionless. "Observation detected. Leave the zone." Every Zarklan officer froze. Their mouths hung open. Their hands trembled. How did they detect us?" the science officer whispered. "Their ship was cloaked, hidden, silent, undetectable to most species. But the humans saw them anyway." A second message appeared. "Final warning." Redhar knew that tone. It was the voice of someone who was not afraid. Someone who did not need to bluff. Someone confident in their power. But the Zarklans still believed the humans were weak. They thought the message was an empty threat. After all, what could those slow, rusty machines possibly do? Redhar slowly turned toward his crew. "Something is wrong here," he said. "Very wrong." He stared at the frozen screen. His instincts screamed that the humans were not showing the truth. Instead, they were hiding it. The machines on the moon were not old. They only looked old. But why? What were the humans hiding? Rethar's second officer whispered, "Commander, what do we do?" He did not answer. He simply stared into the darkness of space, thinking about the human machines. Machines that did not use fuel. Machines that never stopped. Machines that worked with perfect efficiency. Machines powered by, what? Unknown technology? A new energy source? Something beyond the Zarklan Empire's understanding? And if the humans could hide that under trash and rust, what else were they hiding? Redhar felt his stomach tighten. A heavy fear filled his chest, a fear he had not felt in decades. He looked at his officers and spoke in a quiet, shaken voice. This is not possible." The crew froze. Because when a commander like Redhar, who had survived wars, monsters, and ancient weapons, spoke with fear, they all understood one thing. The Zarklan Empire was not the hunter anymore. They were the prey. The humans were not primitive. They were something else. Something the galaxy was not ready for. And this small event, this tiny observation, was the beginning of something much bigger. It was the beginning of the unexpected war. Commander Redhar stood in silence as the human warning faded from the ship's screen. Every officer around him waited for orders, but he did not speak. His mind was racing, replaying the human voice again and again. Observation detected. Leave the zone. Humans should not have this ability. Their machines should not be this strong. Their technology should not reach this level. The Zarklans had studied every species in their region of space. Humans were marked as developing, inexperienced, and low threat. Their starships were small. Their colonies were new. Their fleets were tiny. So why did this outpost feel dangerous? Redhar finally exhaled and gave a slow order. Pull back. Do not provoke them. The pilot nodded weakly and began to steer the ship away. But just as the vessel turned, the navigator froze. Commander, the human scanner is still tracking us. Rethar's eyes widened. What? We're leaving. The navigator shook his head. It doesn't matter. They can see every move we make. A cold dread spread through the bridge. Humans had found a way to track a fully cloaked Zarklan vessel. That was impossible. Cloaking was their greatest pride. No empire, not even the ancient Silex Dominion, could break it. Yet humans had done it instantly. Redhar clenched his jaw. Increased distance. Slowly. The ship drifted away from the moon, but the tension remained. No one breathed. No one moved more than necessary. When they finally left human-controlled space, the scanner released them. Only then did the crew let out shaky breaths. Redhar wiped cold sweat from his forehead. Record everything. And send it to High Command. They must see this. The officers rushed to follow the order. None of them dared question him. But even while the recordings were being prepared, Redhar felt something deeper. Something heavier. A quiet voice inside him whispered, "You are too late. The danger has already begun." White Medium Star, a meeting that changes everything. The Zarklan High Command gathered in a grand hall on their capital world. Tall pillars. Blue flames. Black metal walls. Everything was designed to show power. When Redhar arrived, many officers glared at him. Why did you retreat from a primitive species? Did you lose your nerve? Do humans frighten you now? Redhar said nothing. He simply handed them the recordings. The hall grew quiet as the first video played, the one showing humans' old rusty machines working across the moon. As expected, many officers laughed. Look at that scrap. Do they really use these toys? They are weaker than we thought. But then came the second part. The footage showing the mining bots working non-stop. No rest. No fuel. No overheating. The laughter stopped. Then the scanner lock alert. The dark screen. The human voice. Observation detected. Leave the zone. Silence fell over the entire chamber. One general leaned forward, eyes narrow. That is no weak species. Another officer whispered, their machines, they run forever? Redhar spoke clearly, firmly, and without pride. Humans are hiding their true technology. They are disguising it under junk. The Emperor himself finally spoke. His voice was deep and sharp. Are you saying humans have superior power, and they are hiding it from us? Redhar nodded once. Yes. The Emperor's eyes glowed with a cold, angry light. Then they are a threat. Commander Redhar felt his stomach drop. He knew what came next. White Medium Star, the first mistake. Instead of investigating carefully, instead of sending diplomats, instead of asking questions, the Emperor chose pride. He ordered a military inspection of the human outpost. Send a single warship. Show them we are not afraid. Redhar stepped forward. Your Majesty, that is a mistake. We do not understand their machines yet. Silence, the Emperor snapped. Humans will learn their place. And so, the first warship was deployed. The Draxon 7, a sleek Zarklan destroyer armed with plasma cannons and missile pods. A ship strong enough to level a small city. The crew of Draxon 7 approached the human moon casually, laughing and confident. We'll show them how real machines work. They won't dare warn us again. But Redhar, watching from the command hall, felt a deep, heavy fear. This will not end well, he whispered. White Medium Star, when weak machines stop being weak. The Draxon 7 arrived and announced its presence loudly. Human colony. This is the Zarklan Empire. You will allow inspection. No answer. The captain frowned. Typical primitives. He fired a test beam at one of the mining bots to get their attention. The beam hit the robot's metal frame. And then something horrifying happened. The robot absorbed the energy. No damage. No explosion. No melting metal. It absorbed the attack, and then stood taller. Inside the command hall, hundreds of Zarklan officers stood frozen, watching the live transmission. What did it just do? How can a simple mining bot absorb a plasma shot? Then the second test shot came. Again, nothing. The mining bot stepped forward. Not fast. Not aggressive. But with purpose. A human voice finally responded. Unauthorized aggression detected. Defense protocol activated. Suddenly, every machine on the moon woke up. Rusted tractors tilted upward. Mining drones lifted into the air. Bulldozers turned toward the sky. Tiny repair bots began moving like a swarm. None of them looked advanced. None of them looked dangerous. But the energy inside them was something else. The Draxon crew panicked. Retreat. They are powering up. Why are they glowing? What energy source is this? Then the mining bots opened fire. Not with lasers. Not with missiles. But with clean energy beams, pure, silent, and bright. Beams that sliced through the Zarklan destroyer's shields like soft paper. The Draxon 7 began to fall apart. Metal melting. Circuits burning. Engines dying instantly. The captain screamed. This is impossible. These are mining machines. His scream faded into static. The transmission ended. Every Zarklan in the hall turned pale. The Emperor gripped his throne so hard his claws cracked the metal. Humans, he whispered, trembling with rage, have hidden weapons among trash. Commander Redhar closed his eyes. He knew the truth now. This was not a misunderstanding. Not a small encounter. Not an accident. This was the first blow of something far greater. Something the Zarklan Empire was not prepared for. Something the galaxy had never faced. It was the true beginning of. The destruction of the Draxon 7 shook the Zarklan Empire in a way nothing ever had. News spread faster than light. Screens across the capital replayed the same terrifying moment. A rusted human mining bot, a machine that looked like it came from a junkyard, had cut a warship in half. Not with missiles. Not with plasma. But with clean, silent, impossible energy. A weapon the Zarklan Empire did not understand. A power the galaxy had never seen. Inside the High Command Hall, chaos broke out. They hid their real technology. They fooled every empire. How can a young species do this? The Emperor slammed his fist into the metal arm of his throne. Silence. The entire chamber went still. The Emperor stood tall, eyes burning with war. We were humiliated, he growled. A primitive outpost destroyed one of our ships. This is an insult to our empire. Commander Redhar slowly stepped forward. With respect, this is not about insult. This is about danger. The Emperor shot him a cold glare. Explain. Redhar took a breath. Humans disguise their true power. They are not weak. They are not simple. And they are certainly not primitive. Some officers scoffed. They hid weapons inside scrap. They tricked us. We must strike back. Redhar raised his voice sharply. No. We must learn what their machines truly are. But the Emperor was done listening. He pointed a claw toward the holographic map showing the human moon. This is now a matter of pride. The galaxy watches us. If we retreat, we become a joke. If we hesitate, we become cowards. Rethar's face tightened. Pride was about to destroy the Empire. The Emperor spoke the words Redhar feared most. Prepare a full battle fleet. Humans will be crushed. A chill spread through every officer in the room. A full battle fleet was not just a response. It was the start of a war. White Medium Star, the fleet that should have won. Within hours, 6 massive Zarklan warships gathered above the capital. Each ship carried hundreds of fighters, dozens of cannons, and enough firepower to flatten continents. Tens of thousands of Zarklan civilians watched from the streets. They cheered the fleet as it left the atmosphere, convinced victory would be quick. But on the command deck of the flagship, Redhar sat in silence. He should not have been there. He hated this mission. But the Emperor wanted him as an advisor, to witness the destruction of human arrogance. Redhar had a different hope. To survive long enough to say, I told you so. As the fleet traveled through the stars, the officers mocked the humans again. They won't stop us this time. We'll show them real power. Their little moon will burn. Redhar stared out the window, watching distant stars glide past. He whispered to himself. They still don't understand. Humans did not fight us with ships. They fought with machines, disguised as scrap. He remembered how the mining bots glowed before firing. That glow was not plasma. Not nuclear energy. Not anything he recognized. It was something new. Something ancient and young at the same time. Something terrifying. White medium star arrival at the human moon. After 2 days of travel, the Zarklan fleet arrived near the human outpost. Unlike before, the humans did not send a warning. No voice message. No scanner lock. Everything was silent. Too silent. Redhar felt a cold pressure in his chest. This is a bad sign, very bad. The fleet commander ignored him. Deploy all fighters. Prepare ground forces. Hundreds of Zarklan fighter ships spread across the sky like a dark cloud. The flagship aimed its cannons at the moon. Begin the attack. The first plasma volley fired downward, lighting the space with bright blue streaks. But before the beams could hit the ground, the moon moved. No, not the moon. The machines. Every machine on the surface suddenly turned its head upward. The mining bots. The tractors. The diggers. The drones. Thousands of rusted machines stopped working and looked directly at the fleet. They were waiting. Redhar whispered, "This is not an outpost. This is a military trap." The fleet commander laughed. "Then let them come." He raised his arm. "All ships, fire again." The Zarklan fleet launched a second volley. Plasma cannons roared. Missiles shot through vacuum. Fighters screamed downward. And then, the machines woke up. White medium star, the rusted army rises. A deep hum shook the moon's surface. Old tractors unfolded into armored walkers. Mining bots snapped apart and reformed into tall weapon platforms. Drones lifted into the air, their lights glowing bright white. Small repair bots fused together into a swirling metallic storm. The entire outpost transformed in seconds. What once looked like trash was now a war machine, 1,000 strong. The first wave of Zarklan plasma hit a glowing shield, a shield created by dozens of linked mining bots. The shield did not break. It absorbed the energy again. Rethar's heart pounded. It's the same energy, but stronger. They upgraded since the first battle. Suddenly the drones shot upward like bullets. They didn't fire missiles. They didn't fire lasers. They fired clean, silent beams that bent space around them. The beams cut through Zarklan fighter ships instantly. The ships didn't explode. They simply fell apart, sliced cleanly into fragments. Within moments, half the fighter fleet was gone. On the flagship, officers screamed. "What is that? They have no reactors. How are they doing this? Our shields are useless." Redhar grabbed the commander's arm. "Order a retreat. No. We cannot win." But pride was stronger than logic. "No," the commander shouted. "We attack until we break them." He raised his arm again. "All ships, fire everything." The entire Zarklan fleet unleashed their strongest weapons. And the human machines absorbed it. All of it. Then they answered. A single mining bot fired a beam so powerful it ripped a cruiser in two. A swarm of small repair bots tore into a battleship like metal insects, eating through armor. A massive tractor, once rusty and slow, transformed into a walking fortress and smashed a destroyer with a single energy blast. In less than 10 minutes, the mighty Zarklan fleet was defeated. One ship remained. The flagship. The commander collapsed into his chair, trembling. This cannot be real." Redhar stood slowly. His face was pale. His voice was cold. And he said the words the entire empire would soon fear. "Humans do not need ships. Their machines alone can win a war." The human drones hovered outside the flagship's window, waiting. Then a quiet human voice filled the ship. "Final warning. Leave now." Redhar closed his eyes. He had only one choice left. Retreat. Take us home. The flagship turned and limped away. Behind them, the rusted human machines watched silently. Like guardians of a forgotten power. The Zarklan Empire had awakened something they could not defeat. And this was only the beginning. This was the day the galaxy learned. Human scrap rules the battlefield. The lonely Zarklan flagship drifted through dark space, silent and wounded. Its engines flickered weakly. Sparks fell from broken ceiling panels. The smell of burning metal filled every hallway. Only a few hundred crew members survived. Everyone looked pale. Everyone shook with fear. For the first time in centuries, a Zarklan fleet had been destroyed by a species they believed was weak. Commander Redhar stood at the bridge window, watching the stars pass slowly. His mind replayed the battle again and again. Human machines, machines that looked like junk, had turned into unstoppable weapons. He whispered to himself. Humans hide the truth behind simple things. The fleet commander, injured and exhausted, approached him slowly. "Redhar, he muttered, voice trembling. What did we face? Redhar did not look away from the window. We faced a power the galaxy has never seen. Something humans kept secret. Something even our ancestors never mastered. The commander swallowed hard. But how? Their machines had no reactors. No cores. No fuel. Redhar finally turned. That is the question every empire will now ask. White Medium Star returned to the capital. When the flagship returned home, the Zarklan capital fell into chaos. Civilians panicked. Scientists demanded answers. Generals argued with each other. The Emperor's throne room filled with shouting voices. Our fleet is gone. Humans have impossible power. What are those machines? What energy did they use? The Emperor slammed his fist again, silencing them. Then he turned to Redhar, the only officer who had warned him from the start. You. His voice was sharp. You saw these machines up close. Explain. Redhar stepped forward slowly. Humans are using a new power source. A core that breaks every rule of science we know. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. What kind of core? Redhar took a deep breath. We scanned a fragment of the energy. Only a tiny fraction, but it tells a story. The room went dead silent. Redhar spoke clearly. Humans created something called the Helion Core. Whispers exploded across the hall. The Helion Core? A myth. That's impossible. The Emperor leaned forward. That name, it appears in ancient records. A core that produces infinite clean energy. A core many empires tried to build, and failed. Redhar nodded. Yes. For thousands of years, species across the galaxy searched for a stable model. All of them failed. The energy was too unstable, too dangerous. But humans, he continued, found a way. The Emperor's eyes widened with disbelief and anger. You're telling me that a young species, new to the galaxy, achieved a feat even ancient civilizations could not? Redhar answered softly. Yes. White Medium Star, the truth about human scrap. The Emperor paced angrily. Why hide it? Why disguise powerful machines as junk? Why pretend to be weak? Redhar already knew the answer. Because humans understood the galaxy better than we thought. They knew other species would fear their power. So they hid it. They kept their machines looking old, slow, and useless. He paused. But beneath the rust was the most advanced energy source ever created. A general stepped forward, horrified. Then every machine on that moon, every bot, every vehicle. Redhar nodded. Every one of them had a hidden Helion core. A quiet dread settled over the entire room. It meant humans could create unlimited machines. Machines that never needed fuel. Machines that never rested. Machines that fought without fear. A Zarklan officer whispered. We cannot win against that. The Emperor glared at him. We must win. We are the Empire. But the Emperor's hands were shaking. White Medium Star, a desperate choice. The Emperor held a meeting with his top scientists. The scientists confirmed the worst truth. Humans did not just build a power source. They built a living energy core. What do you mean? Redhar asked. The chief scientist replied, voice trembling. The Helion core adapts. It evolves. It learns. The hall fell silent. That meant every battle made the human machines even stronger. Every attack taught them new defenses. The Emperor clenched his claws. So we cannot break their shields? No, the scientist whispered. Every time we try, their shields become stronger. The Emperor sat down heavily. For the first time, the ruler of the Zarklan Empire looked afraid. What do you suggest? He asked Redhar quietly. Redhar closed his eyes. Open communication with humans. Ask for peace. The room erupted with outrage. Peace with primitives? Never. This is shameful. But the Emperor raised a hand. He was thinking. Deeply. Painfully. Finally he spoke. Prepare a message. Gasps filled the chamber. We will attempt peace. White Medium Star, the message to Earth. The Emperor's voice was broadcast across human space. This is the Zarklan Empire. We request communication with Earth. A long silence followed. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Then two. The Zarklans waited nervously. Finally, a human signal arrived. A simple voice. Come. Cold. Controlled. Your request is received. Stand by. The humans were not scared. Not angry. Not even worried. They were calm. That frightened the Zarklans more than any weapon. After a long pause, the human voice returned. Earth will send a representative. Redhar felt a strange mix of fear and relief. Perhaps peace was possible. Perhaps war could stop. But the human message did not end there. It continued, with a line that made every Zarklan freeze. Do not be alarmed. Our envoy is one of our machines. Redhar stared at the communicator in horror. If humans were sending one of their machines, then something powerful was coming. Something they could not stop. Something that carried the full truth of the Hellion core. The Emperor whispered, Gods, what have we awakened? Inside the human outpost, alarms were flashing quietly. No panic. No shouting. Everything was calm. Humans moved like they had practiced this moment many times. Engineering teams walked through the halls with tablets and scanners. Security officers checked doors, checked cameras, checked energy flow. Every human in the station knew one thing. Zarklan eyes were watching. And it was time to show the galaxy why humans were not weak. Back in the Zarklan warship, Commander Vuro's ship shook again. The pressure inside the control room dropped for a moment. Stabilize atmosphere, an officer yelled. Vuro pointed at the screen. A single human drone was flying toward them. Small, slow, old design. At least, that's what it looked like. The officers laughed nervously. It's just a human toy, one said. Maybe it's a cleaning machine, another joked. But Vuro was silent. His claws tapped against the metal floor. That is no toy, he whispered. Suddenly, the small drone stopped right in front of the Zarklan ship. No weapons, no shields, no armor. Just a harmless machine. Then, it multiplied. Not by releasing machines. Not by using energy pods. Not by building anything. It simply split into 2, then 4, then 8. Like copying itself out of nothing. No, this cannot be real, an engineer said. Every officer stepped back from their station. Even the screens flickered as if they could not understand what they were seeing. Within seconds, 4 became 8. 8 became 16. 16 became 32. All identical. Perfect duplicates. All created in less than 3 seconds. The galaxy had no machine that could do this. Human technology, the unknown. Commander Vuro felt his heart tighten. This is impossible. These things violate basic energy laws. The drones surrounded the Zarklan warship. Still no weapons. Still no attack. Just silence. They floated like they were waiting for a command. Commander, an officer stuttered. Should we open fire? Vuro shook his head sharply. No. Do not touch them. Do not aim at them. Do not provoke them. The officer swallowed. But Commander, if they can copy themselves, they could fill the whole system. Vuro closed his eyes. That is what I fear. Inside the human outpost, human technicians watched the Zarklan ship with calm faces. One engineer reported, Drone replication successful. Phase 1 complete. A woman in a gray uniform nodded. Good. No aggression unless they fire first. Another officer added, The Zarklan commander is scared. He believes our machines are breaking physics. The woman smiled slightly. That's the point. These humans were not miners. Not simple workers. Not a weak outpost. This place was a hidden military research base. And the old machines outside were not old at all. They were quantum self-replication units, a secret human project the galaxy had never seen. Too small, but able to change the balance of power in seconds. Back on the Zarklan ship, panic rising. Alarms rang again. Commander, the drones have stopped replicating, but something else is happening. Vuro turned to the screen. The drones were forming a shape. A pattern. A warning symbol. A shape every species in the galaxy understood. A human skull. Cold silence filled the room. Then a message appeared on their screen. White letters. Human language. Leave this zone now. Final notice. No anger. No threats. Just a simple order. The officers trembled. What do we do? One asked. Another whispered, If these drones attack, we cannot survive. Commander Vuro did not answer. He was staring at the screen with wide, shaking eyes. He finally spoke. Prepare the engines. But Commander. Do it, Vuro said, voice tight. We are leaving. The final suspense moment. As the Zarklan ship turned away, the drones followed slowly, silently. Like ghosts watching every movement. Vuro whispered. These were not weak machines. These were not old. Humans were hiding their power in plain sight. He gripped the edge of his chair. If this is only their small outpost, then what are they hiding on Earth? The ship jumped into warp. The scene ended with the drones drifting back toward the moon outpost, then instantly vanishing, disappearing as if they never existed. Commander Vuro knew. The Zarklan Empire had just awakened something they were not ready for. Commander Vuro sat alone in his quarters after the ship entered safe space. The lights were low, the air cold. He kept replaying the moment in his mind. The human drones multiplying. The skull symbol. The calm human voice saying, "Final notice." Vuro had faced wars, invasions, cosmic storms. But nothing had ever made him feel fear like this. He opened a private report file. "Record entry," he said quietly. The screen glowed. "Report, Human Moon Outpost. Status, unknown threat level, possibly extreme." He paused, then added, "Recommend, avoid human territory until further study." His claws were still shaking. Back on the Human Moon Outpost. Inside the command center, things were very different. There was no fear. No celebration. Just calm focus. Commander Reyes, the human officer in charge, stood over a hologram of the moon. Her second-in-command, Patel, stepped beside her. "Zarklan's ship retreated," he said. "No pursuit." Reyes nodded. "They will return, but not soon. They need time to understand what they saw." Patel smirked. "They won't understand. Not with their old science." Reyes tapped the hologram. "Exactly. Our machines break the rules they believe in." Around them, engineers monitored the quantum units, those small old machines that scared the Zarklan Empire. One of the technicians reported, "Replication test successful. Cloaking stable. Energy draw minimal." Reyes folded her arms. "Good. The galaxy still thinks we use old gear. Let them think that." A young officer asked, "Ma'am, what if word spreads?" Reyes looked at him for a long moment. "It will spread," she said. "And that's the plan." The Zarklan Empire, High Council meeting. The council chamber was huge, filled with tall pillars and glowing crystals. Members of different Zarklan clans gathered, nervous, whispering. The Emperor himself sat on a throne of silver stone. Commander Vuro entered slowly, bowing. "Speak," the Emperor said. Vuro lifted his head. "My Emperor, humans are not what we believed." The council members laughed at first. One shouted, "They live in old metal houses and use dirty machines." Another added, "They throw rocks at each other. They cannot threaten us." Vuro slammed his tail on the floor. Silence. Every eye turned to him. "I saw their machines," he said. "Machines that can copy themselves from nothing. Machines that break the laws of energy. Machines that appear and disappear." One council member scowled. "Impossible." Vuro leaned forward, voice low and cold. "I saw it with my own eyes." The chamber became silent. The Emperor's red eyes narrowed. "What do you suggest, Commander?" Vuro swallowed. "Do not attack them. Do not go near their space. Do not test them." The Emperor drummed his claws on the throne. "You fear them," he said. Vuro replied softly. "I respect them." The galaxy begins to whisper. Within weeks, rumors spread. Humans have strange machines. Humans can create energy from nothing. Humans hide power in their mining tools. Even empires far from Zarklan space began to wonder. Some were curious. Some were afraid. Some began preparing for war. But they all shared one question. What were humans hiding? Back at the outpost, final hook. Commander Reyes stood outside the base watching the stars. A soldier walked up behind her. "Ma'am," he said, "do you think the Zarklan will return?" Reyes smiled slightly. "Oh, they will. The galaxy never stays quiet." She looked up at the faint blue glow of Earth far away. "And when they come, they will learn the full truth. Not just our machines." The soldier shifted nervously. "What truth is that, ma'am?" Reyes turned to him. "That humans never show their real strength first." She tapped her wrist device. Instantly, dozens of quantum units appeared behind her. But this time they didn't multiply. They transformed into a sleek black shape rising slowly from the ground. A silent warship. Invisible to scanners. Powered by impossible energy. The soldier stared in shock. "Ma'am, is that?" "Yes," Reyes said softly. "Our real weapon." She watched the dark ship ascend into the sky, silent as a shadow. Then she whispered the final line. "Let the galaxy laugh. Until it is too late."